Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This film is rated M for pervasive themes of abuse, coarse language, and frequent references to sexual violence. Being the final film in this year's Best Picture category that I hadn't seen yet, I've heard nothing but incredible things about this powerful story. So this is Kia's Reviews, and this is my review of Women Talking.
We know that we've been attacked by men, not by ghosts or Satan, as we were led to believe for so long. We know that we've not imagined these attacks, that we were made unconscious with cow tranquilizer. We know that we are bruised and infected and pregnant and terrified and insane, and some of us are dead.
Women Talking is a confronting, overwhelming, yet also an immensely emotionally powerful film that depicts the discussions between four families of women that have all been sexually abused at some point in their lives by the men in their highly religious colony. This plays out a lot like 12 Angry Men, with each line of dialogue being perfectly written, resonant, and with a deep meaning and purpose. Even though it may not have brought me to tears, I felt the deepness of this story from within, so much that I physically felt attached to every character centralized in this story. It's a very introspective movie that delves into some of the hardest issues happening to women still to this day, and by unrelentingly confronting the audience with the facts and ideologies of how boys aren't born to be rapists, and the rights that women have to combat this issue, made for a very touching and depressing watch. This all happens under a larger barrier of staying in tune and following their religion strongly, and their reluctance to abandon their religious values, even if that could possibly mean seeing the rapists as victims, or forgiving their disgusting perpetrators and learning to grow into potentially loving them again. It's a film of strong conflict and perfect empowerment.
Would it be a good idea, before we list the pros and cons of staying and fighting, to talk about exactly what it is we're fighting for?
It's obvious. We're fighting for our safety and for our freedom from attacks.
But what would that mean to us? Perhaps we need a statement which describes what we want the colony to be like after winning the fight. Perhaps we need to understand more what it is we're fighting to achieve, not only what we're fighting to destroy.
There is so much packed into this 100-minute film, and by keeping up with one of the strongest scripts of dialogue that I've noticed in a long time, every character had their own set of ideals and suggestions, and therefore always had a strong convincing point which would throw some of the other characters into disarray. Each point made makes the audience think, and while there are some ideas that may seem completely irrational and you might entirely disagree with it, you empathise with their situation and figure out why this controversial idea was even suggested in the first place. This way, you unknowingly draw a connection to the development of each of the four core actresses and the characters that they portray in a way that you can't help but be transfixed to the silver screen in order to find out some very staggering revelations and plot developments through their dialogue. The themes dealt with in Women Talking are very confronting and triggering, concerning itself with the themes of miscarriages, periods, rape, sexual assault, unwanted pregnancies as a result of rape, domestic violence, and more, because these issues are still happening in the world right now. What I also really appreciated was whenever a long debate sequence had concluded, the film would intercut shots and small scenes of the innocent children under a certain age, and through these scenes it would demonstrate how children are taught power and aren't born with these sick, innate urges and thought processes. These children provide hope to the audience for the future of their upbringing, and that only added to the impact that Women Talking already held with the focus on the women.
I thought we were here to do more than that.
You mean talk more about forgiving the men and doing nothing?
Everything else is insane. But none of you will listen to reason.
Well, why are you here with us? Why are you still here with us if that is what you believe? Just leave with the rest of the do-nothing women.
She is my daughter, and I want her here with us.
Is forgiveness that's forced upon us true forgiveness?
All of those themes come together in this script and are portrayed so respectfully and goes far enough to be shocking and stunning without ever showing these assaults on screen. The main four actresses in Claire Foy, Rooney Mara, Jessie Buckley, and Frances McDormand were magnificent, and after having seen this, if it weren't for the Fabelmans, I would have been rooting for Women Talking to win Best Picture, but after seeing it twice now, it's taken the top spot as my favourite film of 2023 so far, and I don't see any potential contenders beating it anytime soon. Claire Foy accesses some genuinely dark and raw emotions in this role that I've never seen her do before in her career. Since this is a very thought-provoking movie that has so much to say, to have such strong actresses with a female director was what gave this movie impact and a true sense of power behind it. Rooney Mara was equally as magnificent as Claire Foy, and all of the cast together were transcendent in getting the movie's purpose across to the audience, while also being such an enticing and intense watch. The score was subtle but brilliant too, as it had a very hopeful tone to its few instruments that invited a sort of uplifting feeling to differentiate itself from the depressing subject matter at hand, so to feel that alleviation didn't make this film completely depressing the entire way through.
It doesn't matter what I think anyway.
Is that true? Do you really think it doesn't matter what you think? How would you feel if in your entire life it never mattered what you thought?
But I'm not here to think. I'm here to take the minutes of your meeting.
Women Talking is the final Best Picture nominee of this year that I had to see before the Oscars, as it only just came out in Australian cinemas last Thursday, and wow, this was worth it. Being empowering in every aspect of the word with such motivated and raw performances from everybody in the cast, including the central and only male character in Ben Whishaw, who was also surprisingly brilliant and emotional here, made for a very confronting yet honest viewing experience. It's certainly a movie that I would recommend for young boys and girls from the age of 11 and above, as there's some strong messaging in its second half that is directly aimed at reshaping their mentality towards how they should grow up responsibly and not be influenced by power over others. Every theme mixes in with a seamless dialogue that is only elevated by the cast's performances. This was genuinely heartbreaking to sit through, but it's intense at the same time, which makes for one of the most enticing movies I've seen in a long time. This successfully makes its impact on a very wide scale, and even though most people won't go and see this in the cinemas, everyone needs to see this at least once in their lives, because it is my favourite film of 2023 so far, so much so that I've seen it twice within its first 3 days of release. So I'll give Women Talking a perfect 10 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching. Are you going to see Women Talking? Let me know below. As always, be sure to have a look at my previous reviews of Spoiler Alert and Knock at the Cabin. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Letterboxd and Instagram for all of my latest movie reviews. This has been Kia's Reviews, signing off for now.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.